has come to you on Relaks Radio. Tune in to Relaks Radio.
Relaks Radio.
And we are going up on my own socials as well. Hello everybody and welcome to George's Breakfast Buffet. My name is George Shaft and joining me in the studio today, as I said, is actually just about everybody. A very clever, fantastic person in the radio station. Harry has made a big point of connecting this station to go everywhere. I've been a big supporter, been cheering him on of this for a while, but now it's actually happening. I am happy to hear it. Hopefully the title has been modified. If I have not, then oops, I will be slightly kind of curling up in a ball, but hopefully I did it all right. And let's just go straight into the first story, shall we? Because we are now at 8:15, a bit later than I should have, but about par for the course that I've gone for this past week, 2 weeks since I've arrived back. If you want to complain about that, of course you can do so. The number is 07852 473 473. I repeat, for those at the back and on all the new platforms, that the number is 07852 473 and 473. Also, as I said, it is 8:15, which means we are in the first half. So what has been happening in the world? Now, in the world of the news. Well, we've got this from the BBC 45 minutes ago. Very, very recent little story. Coronavirus. UK in recession and A-levels triple locked. Oh, well, this seems like a very useful little thing. In fact, it's even more useful because you find out that it's actually just a list of like 5 different things all wrapped up at once. All about the coronavirus and all of the COVID disasters. But really, we're interested in 2 of these things. One, very briefly, is the fact that the UK economy is officially in recession. Quoting the BBC yet again, the impact of the coronavirus pandemic has seen the UK economy go into recession for the first time in 11 years. Gross domestic product, the measure of economic activities, has contracted by a record, wait for it, 20.4% between April and June, according to the Office of National Statistics. It said that while the economy began to bounce back in June as lockdown eased, GDP in June was the 6th of the level recorded in February when the virus hit. Holy moly. Holy hesh. You see this, maybe this could have been all planned, This is why I'm in like a t-shirt instead of, normally a shirt. Hi, I'm George. You normally wear a shirt during these things. But, it's like, dang, the economy's in rough state. I'm going to make the volume be a little bit quieter now, just to sort of really hammer home that point. Like, the economy is in a bad state now. I've been discussing over the past couple of days. Won't be available on most of the platforms, but there is on Facebook, and it's on the catalogue of Relaks Radio. That we've now got much higher unemployment figures. 730,000 people lost their jobs over the past couple of months, and it would probably be much higher were it not for all the furloughs. We saw that trading activity plummeted, obviously, because nobody's travelling around. And now, here we are, the actual figure we were all really looking for. 20.4% drop in GDP. That's huge. It's not quite as huge as some other countries. The United States, for example, dropped by 33%, but more on them later. Europe and the European Union as a whole also dropped by about 40%. So it's not the biggest drop that could possibly have been, but I'm not going to pretend that's easy. I'm not going to pretend that that's, like a normal part of the course. Economic recessions happen, there are crashes. Like, no, this is pretty horrendous. Horrendous economic figures to go, of course, with a horrendous virus that also had this extra horrendous situation. Well, not so horrendous. The second part in this BBC article that I'm interested in is triple lock pledge for A-level and GCSE exam results. So here's something I haven't really covered, because there was never really any aspect of thinking like, oh, this is it. This is like the moment I'm going to dive in and talk about it. But basically, there's been a lot of to and fro about what should happen to students' A-levels. Students across the country obviously, weren't in classes because of the deadly disease that's roaming around killing people. And so it ended up causing this situation where it was like, wait, when do we judge that students have graduated? What A-level results are they going to get? And there was a lot of arguing and different opinions, let's put it like that. I covered very briefly yesterday that there was that as many as 39% of students were expected to kind of get a worse A-level score than expected, and especially this was heavily correlated with students in poorer areas. Terrible bit of news. But hot off the presses, from the BBC again. Ministers have promised A-level and GCSE students in England that their final grades will be no lower than the results they got in the mock exams. The move is a part of a triple lock aimed at ensuring the students' results are not downgraded following the cancellation of this year's exams due to the coronavirus pandemic. To continue on with the article, it says, Education Secretary Gavin Williamson announced that if a pupil's results on Thursday were lower than that of their mocks, then they will be able to appeal. Teachers' leaders have criticised the move as panicked and chaotic. So this is one of those things where, as with so many stories, I am drawn in two directions. I sometimes feel when I read sort of news articles that like my heart has got like multiple different strings attached to it, and it kind of rips. Not in like the whole bleeding heart, oh I feel so sorry sense, but in the sort of, oh I don't really know that much what to make of it. So let's roll. So on the one hand, I see why this was done, and I think that it does have ultimately a noble goal. After all, through no fault of their own, millions of students across the country are having their lives disrupted in a way that's not been happening in a very long time indeed. And their education is suffering. It's, most first and foremost among that, lots of bright, talented, determined people who studied hard and were ready to take on the harsh world of university. Suddenly it was like, no studying anymore. Stay at home. So I do get the appeal of going, yeah, alright, you know what we're going to do? You are just going to, do your mock exams. That was back in January. Conditions were normal back then. Nothing was, threatening, all cool stuff. But then, hey, just take that result. Done and dusted. On the other hand, I remember my own mock exam results. And, I'm not going to go into much great detail about what they were like. But they were way worse than my actual A-levels. A lot of students have an attitude of, these are just the mock exams. They're not real. They're not sort of the real deal. And then when they sit them, they realise, actually, this whole exam experience is really scary, and these exams are actually way harder than I thought. So clearly I'm going to need to spend the next 4 or 5 months studying very, very hard to get all of those results in. I need to knuckle down, read all the texts, study all the materials, and then do well in the actual exam. This was my experience, and I would be very surprised indeed if that was not the experience of hundreds of thousands of students every year. Except this year, when they do their mock exams, maybe even do get the bad exam results, but now their own exam results after months of lockdowns and maybe studying at home is compromised, and it's not going as well as it could be. I can't say I'm exactly entirely comfortable with that. I think that the ideal world result would be to make students do their exams properly in some real conditions. But this is where, again, as I said, I'm pulled to both sides. On the flip side, this was not a normal school year. And, people were at home. They were not interacting with their teachers. They were not getting, in lessons. So they weren't getting sort of all the usual good stuff and knowledge that, school normally imparts. But then to top it all off, you have to remember a simple truth. Time doesn't stop. I know that sounds, like I'm being some kind of fake profound and, play the drone music in the background and give me like all the stars in the galaxy brain thing and saying that. But it's true. And there's also, just because a student, was in a pandemic lockdown during their A-level year, doesn't mean that suddenly universities aren't going to be looking for a new intake. I should know. I've in fact myself signed up for a master's class that will start in September. And you have to go and give those universities something. And you have to give them something with a basis in reality. I mean, if you just sat there and went, I even literally saw this suggested at one point. It's like, just give all of them an A and have it and call it a day. It's like, what? No, that's not how it works. You have to. There are different kind of levels of abilities and different levels of attainment between different students, and universities especially need to know about that and need to know what it is. So you have to, there has to be some way in which you determine that, okay, this student will probably be better or probably get a better result in their bachelor's, will probably do a really, really good dissertation for university than this one, who might be more inclined to, maybe might try to apply for university, but isn't really trying and, is really more interested in just finding work somewhere. I can't fault any of those people, yet universities need to know that difference. And if you've not got a realistic and a properly set way of going, don't worry, this student's actually going to be like that. Yeah, it's not exactly going to help. And so, my final thoughts. Do I think that this is a good idea? I think it's honestly neither good nor bad. I think it's just a sort of probably best described as chaotic neutral on the D&D alignment chart. It's a move that is rooted in an instinct that can't be faulted. It's an idea of like, hey, those students who are all in lockdown because there's this dangerous virus that's suddenly appeared and is killing a bunch of people. We need to find some way to secure their futures. But on the other hand, the way it's been gone about, just guaranteeing students their exams, like, oh yeah, don't worry, if you did really well in your mock exams, then you're guaranteed to do well in your mock exams, even though you've not actually done anything in all this time and have kind of sort of let your brain maybe rot a bit. It sounds really harsh, but it's true. And I'm sure there are better ways of doing it. But what do you think? Do you think that maybe I am just too much of a sort of establishment teachers kind of guy? Which wouldn't be entirely rooted in nothing. I did in fact go through teachers training for a while, so I do have a bit of a perspective of like, what's it from the teacher's point of view? And so maybe there's some viewpoint I'm not considering in this story. Or do you think I'm right? Do you think that actually this is exactly the thing to do, even if it's not perfect? Whatever case you want it is, and whatever you want to talk about, you can call the studio. The number is, to do a little sing-song section, it is 071-852 473 and 473. Okay, that was embarrassing. Other people, take the wheel.
Whoa, Relax Radio. আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com. RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay. Relax Radio.
Hello and welcome back to George's Breakfast Buffet. My name is George Shaft, and joining me in the studio today is a little comment, a little thought. Well, 2 thoughts actually. One I have to mention is that I've just noticed in the studio, probably for the first time, which is been a while actually. It's been a while. That it actually has the time for Saudi Arabia there, and I never actually quite realised that it's actually a 2 hours time difference between here and Saudi Arabia. It's I often have this sort of thought of like, it's a place like that, that's far away, that's got to be on some 4 plus, 5 plus kind of thing. No, it's just 2 hours ahead. Apart from that thought, I've also got to mention that I am looking very much at the Facebook live stream. Retitling will have to come later, but if you want to say something in the comment section, I will see it, and I will either judge you harshly for it. Nah, I'm not. I don't judge anybody really. But I will. But I will interact, and I'll be on there. Have a bit of. I've been thinking more. We need a more sort of interactive, almost community-based kind of show. One where I talk with you guys, and then you talk back, and we have a conversation. All sorts of wonderful, fantastic stuff. Speaking of conversations, there is a bunch of stories to cover. I found one in particular, but where is it? Where is it gone? Hang on. This is live from the studio. Where? Oh yeah. There we are. Sky News has this little story here. By the way, vibe check. What year is it right now? Because here's the title. Migrants cheer UK as several boats cross English Channel in one morning. Vibe check, is this 2016? Sky News has witnessed several boats of migrants crossing the English Channel in one morning, with a group cheering UK as they headed towards Britain. In what she described as quite an extraordinary morning on the English Channel, Sky News correspondent Ali Fortescue encountered 4 boats of migrants attempting a crossing. In one encounter, a group of about 10 migrants near the White Cliffs of Dover told Sky News that they were from Iran. Okay. As I said, what year is it? Where suddenly we've got a big old story about migrants crossing the boat. Also, what are we trying to be distracted from? Because, as far as I'm aware, it's like a little dinghy of 10 people from Iran crossing over into the UK. Like, yeah, that's news. But, that shouldn't be the sort of main headline, surely. The disastrous economic results, the A-levels going in a really sort of strange and awful direction, all of the stuff from the United States that I will be covering very, very soon. Surely all of that should really count as like the main news. But no. We are in a system of government by distraction, and so we have gotten ourselves very much focused head first into the most classic red meat that the Tories, the kind of UKIP type people, will ever want to see. Speaking of which, by the way, the UKIP type thing, just a brief aside. There was a little story of a little thing of some woman. I don't know who she was, but she was talking on on television, and she was just, using this extremely anti-immigrant stance of like, oh yeah, I think she was even like, oh yeah, we need to like shoot the migrants and sink the boats. As it's like, oh, sink the boats. We can't have illegal immigration in the UK. Whereas but behind her in like her corridor at home, it was just like this decal. Like those decals you get maybe in like British Heart, not Heart. What's the name? I've forgotten actually the name of that charity shop, which is like British Heart Foundation. That's it. Like the British Heart Foundation charity shop, and he's saying, "Be kind." It's like, "Be kind." The decal said, sobbing softly, knowing that its message of love and kindness and peace was not spreading into the actual inhabitant of the house, who was now right in front of it, declaring that boats full of destitute, poor people deserve to be sunk in the ocean and everybody drowned. Whoop-de-doo. Anyway, continuing on with the Sky News story. The boats from which Sky News was filming had contacted the Coast Guard and was due to follow the migrants' boat to ensure it was safe as it headed ashore. An earlier group of 13 migrants who were travelling on a dinghy without life jackets told Sky News that they were from Sudan. It really has been quite an extraordinary morning out on the English Channel, Ali Fortescue said. Of course, we know that this is a very familiar scene. That doesn't make it any less unsettling to see. She revealed that another boat was cheering UK as we came past, adding, they were clearly very excited about the prospect of building a life in the UK. Obviously, these are migrants that are absolutely determined to take what is a very, very dangerous journey across the English Channel. Cool. My stance in 2016, as it is now, has not really changed. If somebody is so incredibly determined and pumped up to go and immigrate illegally to the UK, then there's probably a good reason why they're doing it. And that good reason is probably because they are a go-getter. They are someone with drive, with determination, with an attitude of no obstacle can stand in my way. And those are the people who drive economies. Those are the people who make things happen. And so, fairly kind of happily inclined to let some of them in, especially if they do actually have valid claims. And I mean, 10 people from Iran, we all know what Iran's like. A horrific, religious dictatorship where they have voting from the pre-approved list of candidates, and if you don't like any of them, then you might have to talk to the nice men with the guns in the dark cellar. Then I can see very, very much why someone, especially if they were taking part in the protests that's been happening over the past couple of years in Iran. Iran's been crazy in 2020, with mass demonstrations in the streets. It's at various times it looked like there was going to be a revolution, though sadly, in my opinion, that's not happened. Then there's also the other one, Sudan. Had basically a military coup last year. Again, mass protests, huge civil unrest, and harsh military crackdowns. Why would you want to live in that? Exactly, you don't. So you leave, go somewhere else. Now, this is where, unfortunately, I do become a bit kind of harsher than maybe most of the kinds of people you'll get on Relaks Radio. I'm a bit sort of... I do have this one caveat, which is that I have no problems with borders, and I have no inherent objection to the idea of a country being able to enforce its immigration laws. So I don't actually have, if you will, a principled sort of stand against what in this Sky News article, the stance of Boris Johnson, which was that he condemned the activities, I'm quoting Sky News again by the way, of cruel criminal gangs who are risking the lives of people by taking them across the channel in potentially unseaworthy vessels. Mr. Johnson has vowed to work with the French authorities to stop the crossings and to make sure that they understand that this isn't a good idea, that it is a very bad and stupid and dangerous and criminal thing to do. Of course, campaigners accused Mr. Johnson of using inflammatory language. Because it is. But the sentiment, as I said, it's got a point. I mean, you look at these pictures of these dinghies, these kind of these small boats. I saw one that was like a little wooden boat that was crossing, and she's just like, that's not seaworthy. What one harsh storm, one strong wind, and everybody on that boat is dead, straight up. Just like there's no way that's going to be. There's nothing that's going to save somebody from that. Just a big wave. And the Seagull's got loads of those. Even even big container ships sometimes just get knocked to the side by, like rogue waves and the like. Is somebody in a tiny dinghy going to stand a chance? And I can't disagree with the sentiment, both from the point of view of this is a dangerous way of going about it. Please find safer ways of coming to the UK if you are so determined to come and visit the UK. Not visit. Go and immigrate to the UK. And then also from the point of view of this is an illegal way of coming to the UK. The UK has got a set of laws. It has a rule set. Whether we agree or disagree with that rule set is another discussion. But they exist. That's beyond debate. And those rules exist for a reason. And they should be followed if you want to come and live in the UK. Even if purely from the point of view of because if you're not following those rules, then those who already did follow the rules in coming here are going to be angrier and feel less stake in the society in which they live in. And since societal cohesion and working well together is, in my view, one of the most important things that we can strive for, one of the most important things that can be worked for, bad juju, bad way of going about things. What do you think? I know I've got a bit of a controversial opinion because I make nobody happy. I'm a bit of a centrist when it comes to immigration because I kind of sit there. It's like, borders and stuff. But on the other hand, those migrants are probably pretty cool people. Whichever the case, call the studio if you're angry or if you're happy, or comment on Facebook and I'll definitely see it. As I said, the number is 07852 473 and 473. But you know what can be done first? You see, joining me in the studio, there's these like really strange people. They kind of like, they rise out of the ground almost like mole people. And they always tell me these strange and these fascinating tales of businesses and entities beyond my comprehension. Let's have a listen to them and see what you think. And I'll catch you all again very, very soon.
Whoa, Relaks Radio. আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com. RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay. Relax Radio.
Hello everybody, and welcome to George's Breakfast Buffet. My name is George Shaft, and And usually I am actually having breakfast in here. I shouldn't. I've actually just remembered that. That's against the rules, but one cheeky breakfast buffet. One cheeky breakfast during the breakfast buffet. You've got to do it at least once. Also, welcome to the studio where I'm accidentally sort of messing about with the screen a bit, but hey. I realised that during the break I left the microphone on, so I guess you probably all know now that the people of Twitch do not join us, which is a tragedy that will forever stay in our hearts. Rest in peace, the notion that the people of Twitch would join us today. However, you know who can join us in the discussion? Kamala Harris, because that is the name of the potential future Vice President of the United States of America. So let's reel back a bit. Joe Biden is the man who is running against the current president, Donald Trump, to become the next president of the United States. Old man from the great state of Delaware. He's 78, if I remember correctly. The oldest person running for the president, major party candidate for the presidency in US history, running against only the second oldest person to have ever run for the presidency, Donald Trump. Joe Biden has, as far as I know, everybody thought, basically the world was his oyster in terms of deciding who could be his running mate. Because all of the polls and all of the situations suggest that he is almost certainly going to win the election. Not necessarily saying he will. Chaos theory is a thing. Things happen. Polls can be wrong. But assuming that they're not wrong, and assuming nothing more drastic than what has already happens. And remember, I predicted at the beginning of the year that Joe Biden would actually lose. I thought that he was a candidate who's not going to be able to take on Trump. Then world events made me look a little kind of oopsie on that one. So, as I said, the world was his oyster in the Democratic Party as to who he could run with him. After much deliberations and a lot of ums and ers, he's chosen someone who's very, very, in my opinion, very kind of, you could have done better. So, I've got NPR up. I quite like NPR. Have I ever told the story here on the show of how I once did like a road trip in the US, and I got this wind-up radio, so I could like sit in the back just like winding up, listening to whatever I wanted. And for large stretches of the US, interior in states like Oregon and Washington State, the only radio stations that existed was NPR or strange stations that advocated that Greenpeace were agents of Satan and that the Bible was predicting Trump's victory in 2020. This was like 3 years before that election. This year, by the way. Anyway, so what does NPR have to say? In historic pick, Joe Biden taps Kamala Harris to be his running mate. Very exciting. Former Vice President Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, has picked Senator Kamala Harris of California as his running mate. California pride, by the way. Like I have a lot of, I have a lot of family in California, so I'm very fond of that state. Hang on just a moment. Alright, anyway. Where were we? Okay. I was just distracted by something off the screen, and you will never know what it was. The selection, by the way, to quote NPR again, will make Harris the third woman and the first... Hang on. No. I've got like a little sneeze building up. But no, it's not happening. False alarm. Anyway, continuing on. The selection will make Kamala Harris the third woman, the first black and first Asian American candidate to be nominated for vice president by a major political party. These aren't normal times, Joe Biden said in an email to supporters Tuesday afternoon, referencing the coronavirus pandemic and calls for racial justice. I need somebody working alongside me who is smart, tough, and ready to lead. Kamala is that person. She, of course, tweeted saying that she was honoured to join the ticket and said that Biden could unify the American people because he spent his life fighting for us. And as president, he'll build an America that lives up to our ideas. In his note, by the way, Biden also referred to Harris's friendship with his late son, Beau. Harris and Beau Biden were state attorney generals at the same time. Beau had enormous respect for her and her work, Joe Biden wrote on Tuesday. I thought a lot about that as I made this decision. There is no one's opinion I valued more than Beau's. I am proud to have Kamala standing with me on this campaign. Yeah, Beau Biden's death was actually the reason why he didn't run in 2016. And it's been really strange, actually. In 2019, he did this a lot. He referenced, the death of Beau Biden. It's like, it's this moment that's kind of transformed me. But it's like, mate, not only is it, was it the reason he didn't run in 2016, which you could chalk up to, in being in mourning, so I'm not that harsh on it. But then also you're going to be running on a platform that doesn't include, things that could have helped others, prevent crying over their dead sons. You don't support withdrawing American troops from all of the the wars in the Middle East. Joe Biden doesn't support the universal basic income. He doesn't support universal healthcare. I mean, such a basic thing. You'd think, you see, I was actually just discussing it with some Americans recently. Just like, it's such a basic thing. Universal healthcare. It's like, well, duh. Obviously, our national government needs to be involved with this because it's the very basic. I've been thinking a lot and framing things recently through the Rousseau's Social Contract, even though I read that book like 5 years ago. But I'm going to reference it again. It's the social contract. We all work together as a society to ensure our safety and to keep us alive. Well, healthcare is one of the biggest things that keeps people alive. So obviously that should be all pulled together. And Kamala Harris is very similar on a lot of those positions. In fact, it's been widely seen as a bit of an attack on the left. The Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard supporters of the Democratic Party are livid over Kamala Harris being chosen because it's like, wait, surely you should pick one of our guys because you're running for the Democratic Party. We're a big part of it. We had a lot of votes during the primaries, so we should have a voice and we should be there, or we could threaten to walk our way. And yet Biden's response is, no, I'm just going to get a moderate. I'm not going to listen to any of you guys. It's especially also disappointing because, I was saying Beau Biden's death, a tragedy, but it could have made Joe Biden look inwards and think more about maybe we should change things and make things better and prevent more situations of parents crying over their dead children. And yet, Joe Biden has picked Kamala Harris, who was infamous as a state attorney for vigorously and aggressively pursuing the war on drugs. The war on drugs, basically a racist way of going after people of black and Latino backgrounds in the US. I mean, that's literally how it started. You look at why it was the Richard Nixon administration kind of implemented it and what their justifications, what they're all thinking. They were all in the terms of like, yeah, well, we know that black people smoke cannabis, and we know that they'll take cocaine, so it's got to be really aggressive and really, really ban it very harshly. Declare war so we can throw them all in prison. And Kamala Harris was somebody who enforced that very, very harshly and determinedly, and even in the face of evidence. There were multiple cases where, well, while she was an attorney, where a man would be arrested for on the charge of smoking weed or being a weed dealer, and they'd go through the whole courts and they'd find, oh, actually it turns out that we had the wrong guy. Like this guy wasn't the weed dealer. It turns out it was like his neighbor, that kind of thing. And Kamala Harris though would still push, go, no, but we should still prosecute this guy for weed because reasons. To send a message, to send the strong message. I don't think I really need to elaborate on why that's a bit of a black mark on a person's character, and it's a bit of a unfortunate thing to have. In addition, Kamala Harris has also been a bit unfortunate of a choice, because she herself ran for president last year in 2019. Yeah, welcome to US politics, where people run for 2 years to become president. And in her campaign, she really, really dove in hard on a kind of I'm the social justice warrior candidate. Her main campaign pledge being to ban Donald Trump from Twitter. Which is just, apart from just the fact that it's insane, you're saying to blame the leader of a sovereign nation, to ban them from Twitter. It's like, they're the leader of the country. They are what they say is inherently both newsworthy and important, so therefore they should be on their social media websites to let people be in contact and see what their leaders are saying. But then even apart from that, it's like, that's massively just authoritarian, and you're going after free speech. It's like, surely he's got the right to say what he wants on Twitter, even if it's horrendous and inflammatory. So as I think you can gather from this, I'm not entirely thrilled by this nomination pick. I think that there were some very, very strong candidates that Joe Biden could have picked, and it would have been fantastic. Tulsi Gabbard probably would have been one of my favorites. Not only because she agrees with me on a lot of political issues, but also the fact that she's both ex-military and fits a lot of these, kind of the demographic tick box kind of aspect that Kamala Harris does too. But what do you think? Do you think that maybe I am just over-exaggerating? Maybe I should talk more about what makes Kamala Harris a good person, a good candidate. I mean, she does have her bright spots, I'm not going to deny that. And, well, or maybe you think that I'm not being harsh enough. It's like, hey, no. Hey, how could you forget that Kamala Harris did this horrendous thing once? I mean, she laughed in the face of marijuana legalization as recently as 2014 as just this absurd pipe dream. So, yeah, maybe that is your view. Either way, you can call the studio. The number is 07-852-473 and 473. But if you called right now, you're going to have to talk to these other people first. So I'll catch you all again very, very soon.
Whoa, Relaks Radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relaks Radio.
has come to you on Relaks Radio. Tune in to Relaks Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relaks proudly presents Relaks Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relaks Radio.
Hello everybody and welcome to George's Breakfast Buffet. My name is George Shaft and one of these days I wish to, put up the... I'm going to put the music a little quietly here. No, one of these days I wish to, put the mic thing there. All of the wonderful kind of, the logo, go away, do something, and then on my way back not have my head clip into the shot. But today is not that day, because today we are in the second half, and I am going to be relaxing a bit more, and, not boil myself up into an angry pile of righteous rage, as I usually do during my, Actually, I don't boil up that much into rage. I'm more of a kind of sit back and go, oh, that's interesting kind of guy. But anyway, all about the news. So let's go for the second half. And we have got some exciting things for you today. The first thing I've got to say, though, is, I've got to kind of put it out there. I've not really got that much in the way of like an article or some, oh, this is interesting kind of thing. But, yesterday was hot. Now, you don't understand. I say that. I think that yesterday was kind of hot. And you know what that means? That means that for the rest of you people, it must have been unbearably boiling. And looking across social media and looking across the way that the news has responded to, the temperatures of the past couple of days, yes, I think the world has generally kind of gone to the consensus that yesterday was kind of a rough and ready kind of day. It was a day where it was a bit, kind of tough. I've got an article from the 7th of August, so it's a bit older, but it's from The Guardian, and it's titled, UK weather, 36.4 degrees centigrade, recorded on the hottest August day in 17 years. Which, that's mad, though, I have to say. I didn't even notice, on the 7th of August. But, here we go. As people flock to beaches and parks this weekend, after the hottest August day in 17 years, a leading health expert has warned that such heat waves will become more regular and more dangerous if nothing is done to curtail the climate emergency. Temperatures reached 36.4 degrees centigrade. I say centigrade, that's what I was taught, but I'm aware that most people say Celsius, so I should probably make a concerted effort to actually just say Celsius. Anyway, there's that temperature in Heathrow and in Kew Gardens on Friday. This was last Friday, which was the highest of any day of this month since 2003, the Met Office said. The hot weather in some parts of the country is expected to give way to thunderstorms early next week. As I said, I felt the heat yesterday. I very rarely do, but you see, I wasn't so much hot in the conventional sense. And before you ask, yes, I do know what feeling hot is like. It's like I've been in conditions that were too hot, No, I didn't. I wasn't really feeling that until I got home, and I just sort of realised that I was incredibly sweaty. It's like and it was like, well, this is an obvious result of the heat. Like, my body has been sensing, oh, geez, look at these temperatures. Let's do something. So I was drinking a lot of water, being safe. I put the blinds up so the sun wasn't like baking me. But then even with that, even with all the water I was drinking, or maybe because of all the water I was drinking, making myself sluggish and making myself so slower, I just fell asleep on the floor. And I almost never do that. It wasn't just like the heat by itself. I was already a bit tired because I do this show where I wake up at 6 a.m. But yeah, no, I never adjust my bedtime of 1 a.m. to actually compensate for that fact. Yes, hooray, hooray, welcome to the breakfast buffet. George is always on 5 hours of sleep. Anyway, and so I just kind of collapsed and just dozed off an afternoon on the floor. And it was, I woke up and I felt kind of heat strokey. It's like, my head's a bit dizzy kind of thing. Let's go get some water. By the way, I say like, I slept on the floor. It's not like I collapsed from standing up there. I was actually already lying down on the floor because, basically because of recent events, my like tables have got sort of like stuff all over them. And so I put my computer down on the floor and I browse on the floor. So it's not like I collapsed, don't worry about that. But it's like, dang. I slept on the floor. I spent basically the entire afternoon that I should have spent, writing up some solid scripts and making sure to know everything, all in the ins and outs. Turns out, nope. Heat will come after you. I've been kind of collecting stories now of people's experiences during this heat wave. If you want to call the studio and tell me one, I would absolutely love to hear it. The number is 07852 473 and 473. There's also a variety of places that you can comment now. I really, really want to see, just comments now discussing on all of the sites. Oh, hey, this was my experience during the heat wave. Yeah, it was kind of nuts, wasn't it? If you want to if you want to do it on Facebook, I will see it live because I've got it all up on my laptop. But if you want to comment on Periscope, though I've been told that you don't really comment on Periscope, so whatever. But on Twitter, on YouTube, I'd say Twitch, but unfortunately the people of Twitch can't join us today. So rest in peace, your memory and your the dream of what you could have been will have to be postponed for another day. Then yeah, please do so. I would love to read your comments. I'd love to read these stories. Just purely, if for nothing else than just to kind of have that confirmation bias that yeah, it wasn't just me yesterday who kind of felt that heat and felt that yeah, the sun was a little bit aggressive, wasn't it? That said, by the way, my controversial little stance, because I always have to have a controversial stance. I am very, very not interested in hearing your stories if they were from before yesterday. I did not feel that any of those days, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, none of those days were too hot. In fact, all of those were really comfortable in my opinion. And yes, that does include Friday. That was considered the hottest day on record in the month of August. But all I'm going to say is, hey, I had a lovely day that day. It was, I thought the temperatures were really quite nice. But as I said, what do you think? Call the studio if you like. The number is 07852 473 and 473. And I'll repeat for those at the back that the number is 07852 473 473. In the meantime and in between time though, let's just hope that the thunderstorms that come after this particular heat wave, aren't that severe, and I'll catch you all again very, very soon after these other people talk. Maybe they will relay their own experiences with the heat wave yesterday.
Whoa, Relax Radio. আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com. RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to George's Breakfast Buffet. But wait, you might be saying, where exactly is the breakfast? And to which I say, yes, good point. Also, good morning. Which it was only really yesterday I kind of realized that I never actually say that in this show, even though it's the first thing in the morning and it's literally called the Breakfast Buffet. So, good morning, everybody. The time is 9:17. We are solidly in the second half, and today's actually one of the very few days. A little window into my actual life, but I've actually had something you could call a breakfast today. I had a little pastry, but I did find myself a bit pining yesterday at one point for one little breakfast food that I may have talked about before, but I will talk about again because I love them and think they are brilliant. That is hash browns. But what are hash browns? And how would you go about having one? How would you go about making one? Well, I've jumped to Wikipedia because Wikipedia is always good for just the basics. Though the basic kind of top paragraph. It's good stuff. Anyway, hash browns are a popular American breakfast dish consisting of pan-fried, shredded, diced, juliennated, or riced potatoes. Some recipes adding diced or chopped onions into the mix. By the way, the ones with onions, I've had those, the hash browns with onions mixed in. Amazing things. Also, when they have herbs in them, I once had hash browns which had it was all potatoes, and then somebody put pepper inside the thing, and it was all mixed in when during the frying. Oh, beautiful. Anyway, hash browns first started appearing in breakfast menus in New York City in the 1890s. Hash browns have been since a staple breakfast at diners in North America, where they're often fried with a large, common cooking pot or cooktop. Why am I having such a hard time with the word cooktop? Cooktop or grill. In some parts of the US, hash brown actually would strictly refer to shredded or rice pan fried potatoes, while diced and pan fried potatoes are just called country fried potatoes or home fries, and are served as a side dish with other meals. They are also a mass-produced product, and also one very popular in the UK. Wikipedia, I am disappointed. You should be mentioning this vital piece of information that, the traditional English breakfast buffet, which, by the way, not quite as traditional as you might think. But details, we don't need to think about uncomfortable things like that for first thing in the morning for breakfast. But hash browns are there, and they are very, very nice, very tasty. They, most of the times when I see it, it's like there's this, I always forget which brand they are, and I'd look them up right now, but honestly, ain't nobody got time for that. But there's always like these mass-produced ones. Like, I swear they're frozen in like these little packages. You just kind of get them, throw them on the cooktop, fry them for 20 seconds, and then serve. Done. Lightly browned up, and I'd say a little bit crunchy on the outside, but most of the time not even that. Most of the time, actually, sort of like hotels and like office canteens or school canteens just kind of have them be like kind of soft. But I don't object that much to even those kind of like just soft ones, because at least they taste good. They taste the potatoes. And if you're a potato fan, maybe hash browns might be the breakfast thing for you. So after I've made my whole point of just kind of rattling on about, they're tasty, they're of American origin, they've got all this stuff you can put in there, that of course leaves the obvious question. Alright, George, I've pulled up my chef's hat. So I should go, dang, you've got a chef's hat. I've always wanted one of those. But I've got my chef's hat, I've got my frying pan, I'm in the kitchen. How do I make it? To which, of course, my first response is, "Wow, you're dedicated. I like your vibe. I like your style." But then, of course, the thing after that is to go, well, luckily the BBC has got a recipe for hash browns in, and it's a good recipe because it's got a 5-star rating based off 20 ratings. And it's like this. So, diving into the BBC Food to be exact. Hash browns are one of those brilliant recipes that taste amazing, look impressive, and take very little effort. A welcome addition to any breakfast or lunch. Or dinner. I object. Sometimes sometimes the hash browns make a very good dinner too. Anyway, the ingredients, according to the BBC's recipe, is 4 medium flory potatoes, peeled, or like a Maris Piper or King Edwards. 1 medium onion, have to have the onion. Then there's 1 egg, which is beaten. And I would just say, like, with beaten eggs, I always imagine, and I know this is immature and silly, but I always just imagine that they were just, like, literally beaten. I have, like, some mental image of, like, Humpty Dumpty walking into the wrong neighborhood, and, like, being attacked in an alleyway and beaten up by a gang. I know, immature, silly, but that's just, like, my mental image whenever I see, like, beaten egg. Anyway, salt and pepper, and then last of all, vegetable oil for the frying. Now, following the BBC's recipe method would be to go... By the way, before I continue, I should mention, this is just the BBC's recipe. There are loads of recipes out there. There is a huge variety of ways you can make this simple dish. So, don't feel obliged to go like, oh no, this is how I have to make it. Like, no, you don't. You can make it however you want. I mean, what's it to me? As long as you're not inviting me to get these hash browns. And if you do, that's a different matter. Please tell me if you're making hash browns and inviting me. But even if you want to tell me that, you can call the studio. The number is 07852 473 473, and you can contact us on all of the different social medias that I am streaming on. But anyway, let's not get carried away. Method. According to the BBC, coarsely grate the potatoes and onion into into a clean tea towel and squeeze out the excess liquid by twisting the towel. Place the mix that you have afterwards in a large bowl. Okay? Then next we're adding the egg. Take a good couple pinches of salt and freshly ground black pepper. Now it clarifies, by the way, that you need to have the salt in the mixture. Now, because otherwise the hash browns are going to be quite bland. And it's like, yeah, salt does have a way of doing that. Anyway, and now with all of this stuff in the pot, you mix it well. Once you've mixed it very well, and it becomes like a kind of a gooey kind of texture, or at least that's how my mum does it. And she actually uses more than one egg too. So she puts in like 2 eggs, and it's a bit different. But anyway, next we heat a good glug of oil in a heavy base frying pan, and when the oil is hot but not smoking, add spoonfuls of the potato mixture into the pan and flatten into patties of about 1 centimeter to half an inch thick. Flip over once, browned and crispy, about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Just reading that, I'm just thinking like, I don't know about other people, but I actually at home kind of like frying. It's like I'm not a huge fan of cooking most of the time. It's like I'm more. I have to admit, I'm kind of one of those people who like get stuff at the supermarket, but then just straight up eats it from the packet. And that includes like vegetables from the stuff, which is weird, but I do. But when I do cook, frying is always like one that's just like, yeah, I'll go for that. It makes like a really satisfying noise, like. Tss. Anyway, once you have finished the frying, you serve hot as a breakfast or supper side dish. Though I object very, very strongly to this because, of course, you can do it for dinner too. Who am I to control what you're having at what times? How dare you? How dare you come and tell me that you can't have hash browns for dinner? Anyway, according to the BBC, doing this is especially good with bacon and with eggs. To which I, of course, also object on both counts. Both on the fact that bacon is, of course, good with everything, so it's just redundant to say, oh yeah, this is good with bacon. Like, no. Maple syrup is good with bacon. Whipped cream is good with bacon. Everything works with bacon. You don't need to say that. But then also with eggs, on the opposite grounds of, and here's a controversial one for me, and if you want to call the studio with your outrage, do so. I don't like eggs, actually. I just don't. And so it's the opposite thing. Like, there is no accompaniment for, fried eggs, boiled eggs, any, whatever eggs you've got. It's just, no. BBC. The BBC writer is wrong. Hash browns are not good with bacon and eggs. The bacon is just good with anything, so of course it's going to be good for the hash browns. And the eggs are bad no matter what they're with. So why did you ruin some perfectly good hash browns and bacon with, by putting eggs on it? Might I suggest perhaps maybe putting in something maybe healthy, but I don't like that much, but, still healthy. Like mushrooms perhaps. Or fruit. Or maybe anything else for the breakfast. If you have any, of course, strong opinions about breakfast, and a lot of people have very strong opinions about breakfast. I'm always surprised by like what people randomly have just like the most fanatical, dedicated opinions on. Then you are very welcome to call the studio. The number, as I keep saying, is 07852 473 and 473. But I'm not very sure whether we even can receive calls, because like we used to have like a mobile phone next to the main screen of the studio, and that was what received calls. But it's gone, so I don't know whether there's somebody's been like dialing the number, with all the determination in the world to tell me about how hot yesterday was, and like is now just like screaming like no, or is it just like whatever. You can also just leave me messages on all of the streams that we have up there. I'm reading them, so nothing to fret there, nothing to worry about. And in the meantime, and in between time, here's some other people to have a chat. And I'll catch you all again very, very soon.
Whoa, Relax Radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com. RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
Hello everybody and welcome to George's Breakfast Buffet. My name is George Shafton. Joining me in the studio today is a question. And that is the question of, when Donald Trump banned TikTok and he banned ByteDance and Tencent from the United States. Yeah, that's kind of been a big story I've been talking about for 2 days. That question was, what is, however, WeChat? Because you see, this is a little interesting thing about it. Well, one interesting thing among many in what I find one of the most fascinating stories to have taken place in quite some time. But I noticed that Tencent, which was one of the companies that Trump banned, among its many business holdings, has this app called WeChat. And when I looked a little bit into it, it turns out that WeChat is actually a far bigger venture than I knew about. And in fact, it ended up being a real big world. Just a window into a world which I didn't really know existed. And so here I am to share it all with you and see what you think. So I've got USA Today up to discuss it. 7th of August again, because that was when the executive order was signed and all that. But the title is, what is WeChat and why does President Trump want to ban it? Okay. In China, Western media is not allowed. Hence, users cannot access the world's most popular free chat applications, including Facebook and WhatsApp, to make free calls and texts. Which was, by the way, if you remember, in the section yesterday and the day before, the reason why I said I actually do have quite a bit of sympathy for the TikTok ban, because China already bans a bunch of US websites and apps like WhatsApp. It's like, hey, if you're going to ban our stuff, why shouldn't we ban your stuff? no, classic tit for tat, quid pro quo, all that stuff. But anyway, tit for tat. But anyway, one local app, however, according to US Today, dominates. It is called WeChat, owned by Tencent Technology, which has its hands in many US companies too, including Snap, Tesla, Activision Blizzard, Reddit, and Epic Games, which publishes the mega smash Fortnite. In addition, it owns a sizable portion of Sweden-based Spotify and all of Riot Games, which is home of the League of Legends game. By the way, if you remember, I actually joked about how, Fortnite is going to be banned by President Trump. I should clarify, because it only occurred to me afterwards that I realized that maybe people might not have caught on that I was joking. Trump's executive order doesn't actually directly affect Fortnite, so Fortnite is still going to be there. If you still, you are, American-based listeners, still going to have plenty of opportunities to style on people with your tacky wacky in the fish suit. But anyway, keeping on going. So what is WeChat? Skipping up ahead. It says it connects 1 billion people with calls, chats, and more. The more includes reading news, playing games, downloading colourful stickers, engaging in challenges with friends to see who can walk more steps, and using the app to pay for stuff. The app is currently available domestically on the Apple and Google app stores, but you need to know somebody before you can register. WeChat instructs you to have a friend to take a picture of a QR code required for membership first. Alright. Somewhat crazy, but okay, that can be done. Anyway, WeChat is widely used in the United States by people who used to live in China and use it to communicate with loved ones, by Chinese students studying there, and interacting with people at home. CNBC noted that banning WeChat in the United States would be devastating to Chinese families. And I actually want to dwell a little bit longer on that, because I've actually been reading a fair amount on the research of this, of just like the impact. And essentially, WeChat is absolutely dominant in China. In fact, as many as 95% of people in China actually have WeChat. And so, of course, when you have a social media platform that is so incredibly large, connects so many people, is so dominant, if you want to communicate with people who are using that medium, and the leader of the country you're in bans the app completely, then you're stuck. How are you going to communicate to people? And before you say use another site, remember, of course, China already bans a bunch of the sites that would normally be the competition in the in the West. It's like as the article literally said, if the student turned around and said, let's use WhatsApp instead, the family's just going to be like, what's WhatsApp? I'm sorry, I did have to make that joke, but the point does still stand. WhatsApp is banned in China. You can't use that as an alternative. Anyway, beyond that, add in anyone who does business with China, says USA Today, for the tech industry, includes pretty much everybody. Most of the world's most popular tech products, therefore, are manufactured in Shenzhen, which is the home base for Tencent. And those products include the iPhone, the Ring doorbell, and most Amazon-labeled products, like the Echo and Fire TV devices. So, it's a popular app. It's as is obvious at this point. But it does have a dark side. Trump says that any app based in China is an issue. He said that it captures personal and proprietary information of Chinese nationals visiting the United States, thereby allowing the Chinese Communist Party a mechanism for keeping tabs on Chinese citizens who may be enjoying the benefits of a free society for the first time in their lives. This was literally in his executive order. Tencent says that it stores users' data in Hong Kong and Ontario, Canada. It also says that it won't share the data, except that if we are instructed by a court, authority, or compelled by the law. Which is, well, exactly the problem, though, isn't it? I mean, Trump's very accusation is that the Chinese Communist Party is going to swoop in and say, hey, Tencent, give us this information because we know that, person X has gone to live in the United States and we want to keep tabs on them in case they ever come back and we want to arrest them. So, it's like, yeah, that's the very point of contention. Tencent, to continue, owns two popular chat apps in the sort of thing, including WeChat and QQ. Both are similar, but WeChat is aimed more at the broader Asian market, while QQ is focused solely on China. Both are used to make free phone calls, chat with friends, and meet new people. WeChat has also got translation tools for this, while QQ doesn't. It's interesting, and not only because I didn't know that this site existed until pretty much this executive order happened, and then it was suddenly this window into an entire world I didn't know about, and it's just something I hadn't really thought about, because I knew that other countries do. I'm gonna roll back. Basically, it's really easy to imagine that's like the websites that you use, the apps that you use are the dominant ones everywhere. Like, it makes sense. The internet doesn't know borders. It doesn't just because you're in one country doesn't mean that you can't access the internet. Except Belarus, where they've cut out the internet now because of the whole protest thing, but details. And so, if I think of people, especially in the West, are not used to the idea that you cross a national boundary and suddenly, the internet landscape radically shifts. But it does. And it does even on what you'd think would be really basic things like messaging websites and social media. I've known for a long time that the dominant social media website in Russia, for example, isn't Facebook, but it's a website called VKontakte. And I just chalked it up to it's just Russia, has an authoritarian equivalent to Facebook, that it can control. That was my thinking, my response, reaction. But, I hadn't really ever thought, but let's take that a step further. If Russia is doing that, for authoritarian reasons, then what about other authoritarian regimes? Surely they're going to have their own sort of social media, to be able to control people and to be able to monitor what they're thinking and what they're typing much more. And just saying out loud, it's obvious. But yet here we are. WeChat. Turns out it's one of the biggest websites in the world. It's got over, I think it was 2 billion people use WeChat. Hundreds of millions of people outside of China use the site. Use the app, to be more precise. For all of the stuff that you can use. And then in China, of course, WeChat is such an eclectic, massive app that I saw this little thing that was basically going, a person in China can order a pizza, pay for it, have it delivered, tell their friends and family about that, then show them pictures of the pizza while they're eating it, and then leave a review of the restaurant, all while on the app of WeChat. Oh, and then also rate the driver. That was it. And then also and rate the driver for the pizza delivery, without having to leave WeChat. It's we don't really have such an all-encompassing website really in the West. I mean, there's Facebook, which also kind of does everything, but even that's got its limits. There's no like Facebook food, as far as I'm aware. Whereas WeChat does. According to this report I read anyway. That might have been mistaken though. I was not 100% sure on the on the source for that, but oh yeah, and play game. Just memory's kind of tired today. Also play games while waiting for the pizza. That's it. It was like order a pizza, pay for it, play a game while waiting for it to arrive, tell friends and family about the pizza while they're eating it, and then review the driver. That was the exact order, without having to leave WeChat, all at once. Basically an entire evening done on one website, doing everything you ever wanted. And, as I said earlier, like 95% of people in China use this site. And it has been accused regularly of cooperating with the Chinese authorities. How could it not? It's been rooted at the heart of scandals of censorship. It removes videos that are critical of the Chinese Communist Party, as does TikTok. It's straight up, if you say things that are against the Chinese Communist Party, or you refer to things that they don't like, such as referencing, the series of unfortunate events that happened in Tiananmen Square in 1989, then you just disappear, and the Chinese authorities know because WeChat told them. So yeah, there's WeChat, soon to be banned from the United States, which is sure to cause a lot of anguish and problems for thousands and thousands and thousands of families, all across the world. But what do you think? Do you think that this is an interesting little tidbit, or do you think that it's like, oh wait, George, you got something wrong. I've got WeChat, and it turns out it does X, Y, Z. Or maybe you think that I should have thrown my opinion in first, furthermore. It's like, no, George, we listen to you for news and politics stuff, not for like this, oh, here's an interesting thing about WeChat. Whichever the case, call the studio, or leave a message. We have loads and loads of places now where you can leave comments. The Twitters, the Facebooks, I'd say the Twitches, but the Twitches are unfortunately not going to join us. I'm going to stop with the archaic joke, and here's some other people who are going to have a little chat with us all.
Whoa, Relaks Radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist, or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Relax Radio.
Hello. Welcome to the George's Breakfast Buffet. My name is George Shaft, and joining me in the studio today is the clock that tells me that the time is 9:49, and in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it is now 9:50. So, which means that not only are we in the second half, we're also in the second half of the second half. And the second half of the second half of the second half. Basically what I'm just saying in a very roundabout way is that we're almost done. And in this last section, I've been having a thought that maybe I should do for the last segment of every show, make it almost like a summary wrap-up session. You see, I've been thinking of ways in which to sort of differentiate each day of the breakfast buffet. I'll keep one day, of course, in the old format, which is the very scattergun, talk about everything all at once thing that we all know and love. But, on Monday I talked about how maybe the book review idea, which I do on some shows, should maybe be expanded and, built more upon. For all the people of Twitter and Periscope who don't know, I do a book review section. Currently, I'm reading a book called Arctic Dreams by Barry Lopez. So, if you want to sort of catch in on that and sort of join the book club, I've been thinking of doing like more sort of a discussion-based thing around that. You can join in and maybe even suggest ideas in the comment sections of everything. But I've been thinking of sort of doing a little wraparound, final thoughts thing of this. But first, let me know what you think of that. But in the meantime, I want to sort of cycle round and finish off with the WeChat discussion with one extra little tidbit. Do you remember when I was mentioning that it's been causing quite a bit of disruption? Well, it's been quite a bit. I've got the BBC up again. We've liked the BBC today, I've noticed. I think in 3 segments now I've actually used BBC articles. I think that's a record. But anyway, Trump's WeChat ban, according to the BBC, an unwelcome sign for the Chinese community. That is the headline. Cool picture. Now to read the article itself, or the bits of the article that matter for what I'm going to say. For the global Chinese community, WeChat is more than a chat app. It is often the primary means of staying in touch with friends and family back home. So the decision last week by US President Donald Trump to order American firms to stop business with WeChat has sent shockwaves rippling out. According to one Shanghai resident talking to the BBC, WeChat has become the it tool for Chinese-speaking people, no matter where you are around the world. The billion-user app is primarily a social networking platform, but it can also be used to host daily activities like shopping, gaming, and even dating. It's a big deal. I could go into all kinds of anecdotes that I've seen. Students in the US, studying in such prestigious institutions, even as Harvard and Yale or Berkeley, now wondering, what arrangement am I now going to use to be able to stay in touch with my parents and with my school friends? Because everybody in China is using WeChat. That's the primary means of using the internet. And now it's gone. Or it will be soon gone. What am I going to do? Help. That's it. And there's been all kinds... But I'm just going to focus on simply saying that's what's happening. It's crazy that it, along with TikTok and everything in the Tencent kind of inventory, and I talked a lot about TikTok, mostly because one, it's the site I'm the most familiar with, but then also because it's the one that has the most memorable things going on in it. People. I made many jokes about like people posting inflammatory things on TikTok, including most often, and I've got to have to refer to it again. I referred to this video of an American microwaving tea. Nothing short of a declaration of war, but that's the way. That's just what I discussed. But WeChat, possibly even bigger in terms of like how important it is to people's lives than TikTok. And in hindsight, maybe I should have talked more about it, which is why I'm doing it now. I guess it's now. Continuing on with the BBC though, WeChat has a less innocent side though, and is seen as a key instrument of China's internal surveillance apparatus. A Wuhan doctor, Li Wenliang, was reprimanded by police last December after he sent messages to colleagues about warning about the China's initial coronavirus outbreak using WeChat. A Toronto-based research group called Citizen Lab also found that WeChat had been censoring information about COVID-19. Yeah. I remember actually covering the death of Li Wenliang. It seemed like a real hero, but he got reprimanded and punished for breaking the peace. He dared go out and say, there's a deadly disease in Wuhan hospitals. We should do something about it. Please help. And then I think he was basically allowed to catch the disease, and then he died of COVID-19, which is heartbreaking. For somebody who did such a good thing for the world. But that's the way it is. Continuing with the BBC, Jenny, a 21, but because I said there's loads of anecdotes, but here's one in both an easy reach and also I find a very instructive one. It's so very kind of generic that I think it tells everything you need to know. Jenny, 21, is a student at the University of California and learned about the order while browsing on WeChat. At first I didn't believe that it is true, she told the BBC. Then I just felt angry. Jenny spends around 4 hours a day on WeChat, using it to contact people in the US and in China. It is also a vital source of information, and she spends a lot of time reading articles published on the public accounts of Chinese media, content creators, and businesses. On the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre, Jenny actually made a one-sentence post in commemoration of it, but then it was quickly removed, and her entire public account vanished. She had told BBC she was very worried that WeChat would share her information with the Chinese government, but on the other hand, opposes America blocking the app. And at the end of the day, I agree with Jenny. I think that, and this is why I think it's so instructive. It's clearly very important to people from China. For everything, for communications, for shopping, for dating, for news. It's banning the app completely is such a clear signal that that you are serious in kind of being antagonistic with China. But on the other hand, you can't exactly say that WeChat is a blameless app. I mean, even just a one-sentence post commemorating a horrendous massacre just deletes quickly. It goes, this post has the bad words in it. Be gone, evil bad words. And then and then it just kind of takes part, and all of the terrible dark side stuff about China's horrendous surveillance authorities. But then on the other hand, there's a simple little bit of a logic that I can see. There's a little simple thing that I think, on the other hand, maybe WeChat was exactly the right choice to go after. Not only because it clearly takes part in the censorship, but on the simple matter that if you want to, do like a blockade or an embargo, you hit them where it hurts. And my oh my, WeChat is indeed exactly where it hurts. Well, thank you very much for listening to George's Breakfast Buffet. My name has been George Shaft. The number has been 07852 473 and 473. But if you were to call right now, you wouldn't just get other people. You're going to get some other show entirely. But in the meantime, the time is just about to be 10 o'clock precisely. Right now it is 10 o'clock precisely. And so I will have to say good morning, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.